I have the antidote to the garlic salad.
I will
here,
need one of
if
those.
anybody would like one.
Yes, I will need one.
Well, I've got, wait a minute,
It still ain't a cookie, but that will.
I got all these.
Oh, you got.
I need one of them.
Thank you. Hold on just a minute.
Jim. Jim.
Jim.
David.
I need a spare.
You need a mint like this, and you got this.
Plenty.
I thought so.
Item one on the
I thought so.
consent agenda?
I thought so. Nobody, they said they weren't gonna be here. I've already talked. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's 6 o'clock or thereabouts on December the 1st, 2015. I'd like to welcome everyone that's here tonight and welcome the council, and would like to certainly get on with our program and get a lot done tonight. So if I could at this time, please ask everyone to pray with me. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity of being here tonight. We thank you for this wonderful Thanksgiving season. We thank you for this wonderful, this wonderful Christmas season. It's a wonderful time of year, but just about all the time normally is a wonderful time of the year. We ask that you be with the two new members of our council, guide them, direct them, and be with them, and be with every family represented here tonight. In your name we pray. Amen. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thing in the car, damn it. Okay. Once again, I'll say it in behalf of the council that, and well, individually too, that Robert, we'll get you at each end, Robert. David on one end, Robert on the other, and certainly we're glad to have you with us, both of you. And
It's an honor.
listen, it's not hard to get adjusted. It's not hard. It just takes a little while, but no, it's an honor to have both of y'all.
We got some good teachers
Well, we
and
certainly,
experience to lean on.
a lot of experience here, yeah. So Dr. Curlin, he's been here his whole life. And
Seems like it.
And Porter too. Okay. All right. Thank you. Is there a motion, item C, to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? All right.
Sharon needs to know I made the motion and
Oh,
Todd seconded it.
okay. Porter, you're on top of that. That's good.
Well, Ashley's instructed me to do that.
Yeah, that's right.
I was reminding this end, yes, sir.
Okay. Item D is public expression, and we, for the new members, I know you know this, but there's no one that's asked to sign up tonight or has signed up tonight, but public expression we have at the beginning of every meeting it's where they're limited. That's what those little lights are right there. It says 5 on the podium. They come on, and for 5 minutes, a person can speak their mind on whatever they have on their mind, and old Meanie has to cut them off at the 5 minutes. Normally, when that light starts blinking, give or take, if they're winding down, that's even better. And we do not respond to the public expression unless it's something that maybe they could, a matter that could be taken up with the city manager or the staff. So we listen at the public expression. Gentlemen, the consent agenda, there's item number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Is there a motion to approve consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, okay. Is there discussion?
I would like, number 1 pulled. I would like
Okay.
to talk about it.
All right.
Okay.
Number 1, item 1. We vote on that, do we?
Vote on the rest of it first. and then-
Okay. Vote on the rest of them and
So
then
your
go back to
motion would
that.
be,
Oh, well, then that'll be item 2, 3, and 4, and there's a motion and a second. All right. Discussion on those? Okay. All in favor? Okay. Chair, you tell us if you don't get one. I'm watching too, so. Okay, discussion on item 1 is the ordinance to demolish 1304 West Walnut Avenue. The owner is Living Water Community Worship Center, file 6611, case 41546. And the presentation is by the Building Codes Administrator, Mr. Brian Pruitt. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and
And
members.
that is item 1, folks. Good evening.
Brian, I see we're going to demolish a church.
Yes, sir.
Now, who owns the property?
Living Water Community Worship Center is actually the owner of that property. And this was done in collaboration with the church. We have met with the pastor of the church. The church is in very bad structural repair. It's the whole west side wall is actually, the foundation is gave away, and we're almost in an imminent roof collapse situation. Copper thieves have went in and they have stole most of the copper, all the heating and air conditioning equipment. The roof is leaking. It's in very, very bad shape. We have met with the pastor on several occasions. She has let us in the church. She very much wants the property demolished as well. They just don't have the funding to do that. We have, worked with them and in many different ways and had many different conversations with the pastor.
Yeah, I saw it's pretty extensive that you guys have had, the items in here, how you've documented it and all. My one question is, we're going to be paying for that, the city itself, to demolish the building.
Yes.
Now, how do we recoup our monies?
Well, we will actually file a lien against the property if the property owner does not pay that. And also, the church has said that they are willing to make payments to the city for the demolition of that. So we also have kind of worked that out as well. But it being such a hazard, we felt like that we couldn't wait for them to come up with the funding because it is just in that bad a state.
Understand. The other thing is, just looking through some of the pictures, I see that they have a piano in the building. And there looks like some pews that are back here. I don't know if they're made out of oak or what, but they're probably worth something to somebody out there.
Yes, and they will get anything out of there that they want out before it's actually demolished, and it'll be a couple months before that happens. We still have to do asbestos survey and asbestos abatement if there's any asbestos that exists on the property. But most everything in there is completely ruined by rain and moisture and that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate the helpfulness.
I have one other question.
Yes, sir.
So there's no opportunity to repurpose this building at all?
It would not be advantageous to them to do that. They could actually build a new structure for what they could rehab this structure for.
Mm-hmm. I noticed also the photograph with regard to foundation failure, which obviously partially answers my own question. But, you look at the front facade and, doesn't look too bad unless I'm not seeing something. But it's a shame to to strike down a structure that's brick, that appears to have some value, but I guess you get to a certain point where it's too expensive to renovate.
It is, and that's this case, unfortunately. It's just a very unfortunate circumstance.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
And those pictures actually look good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a block from my
Block
house.
from his house.
I see it every day.
Can there be opportunities for brick reclamation on this demolition from the standpoint of, recycling brick?
Probably not, but it wouldn't be cost effective to try to do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You about have to hand take every brick down
Yeah.
and clean it and stack it, and that is just so labor intensive.
Yeah.
I mean, it could certainly be done, but the cost of doing that would be very, very expensive
Yeah.
in order to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Mr. Pruitt? Okay, yes, sir.
I make a motion that we follow through with the demolition as per staff's recommendation. Item 1.
Motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Dr. Curley. Okay. No other questions? All in favor? Demolish. It's unanimous. Thank you. I'm sorry, but while you're still here, up there, may I ask you, and I'll be very quick about it too, because it just came up this afternoon and today. You and I, either directly or indirectly, this is a different matter, but I just wanted to make you aware of it. You and I, either directly or indirectly, through the city manager and maybe the city attorney, went around a little bit with the aid planet or whatever that is down well, let's say Marietta and Garrison, the food line,
Yes.
and the yellow building out at the road. Well, the complaints have started and they from the neighborhood, and they went down there. It was at 3 o'clock today, and I said, this can't be as bad as they say. Well, it wasn't. It was worse, and it's terrible. It's I mean, unbelievably terrible, and maybe that'll change. I don't know how they do that, but clothes, garbage bags had gone through the garbage bags, and they're just laying all over the parking lot of Food Line, who is, I understand, giving them that site just to, and there's nobody more probably giving than this council has been, but those clothes are laying out there and it's pouring rain and trash, people's trash and junk. If they don't deliver that, I'll ask you and the city attorney, how do we get rid of them?
You could,
Get rid of the whole thing.
I think you could actually zone those out, and again, the city attorney could give us all the legal aspects of that, but I believe that with the zoning could prohibit that. And, you know, when we moved those out away from the buildings, that kind of accentuated our problem of having this issue, and I wasn't aware of that, but we will look into that in the morning.
Well, okay, please do. I don't want them gone. Don't get me wrong, but I just, if they can't maintain, and they're not here, they're up the road somewhere.
This is the one at Garrison?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I think we need to cite them under that ordinance.
We have.
We have,
Look
but
at it
let's
on your way
do
home
it again
tonight.
and
But
see if
we
we
have
can.
to cite the property owner, which is the folks who own the food line.
On the Food Line
The
site.
idea of the ordinance is to cite the property owner until he tells Planet Aid to move the box.
And
Well-
they do pick up 3 times a week. Planet Aid does pick up 3 times a
I've
week.
seen them there, and they found that out, that they do come and pick up out of High Point or wherever they're from, up that way, somewhere, and of course, this could happen in one day. It could happen this morning, but they called, I went.
You recall when we were doing this ordinance, Planet Aid is the organization that specifically contacted you. I believe Councilman Kimball had the most connection with them. We'll try to find that name and number and call that person and see if we just can't have a conversation with them that this site's gonna need pickup more frequently or either not be a site, and see if we can just get them to agree to do that.
I think that's a good idea.
We have had that conversation
Okay.
with them, and we do have that name and number
Okay.
on file, so.
Okay. Good, thank you, sir. If we could just continue with that. And I'm not exaggerating, if you go by and see, it's pretty bad. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Regular agenda, item 5 is the monthly financial report for October 2015, presentation, Melody Brady, Director of Financial Services. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Item 5.
Item 5. Tonight I present to you the monthly financial report for the month of October 2015. Through October, most of our major operating funds are operating as expected. We have spent of our operating funds 33% through 33% of the year, so we're right on target there. If you go to page 3, which is your general fund financial summary page, currently your general fund expenditures exceed revenues by $6,761,594. That is very typical for this time of year, as we await our tax revenue, which is the biggest revenue in the general fund. We typically get the bulk of our tax revenue in the months of December and January. Revenues are slightly above expectations. I'll point out the property tax line item. Through October, normally we've received just over 15%, just under 16%. Year to date, we've received 20.83. That equates to about $1.5 million. So our property tax is performing well so far this year. In the sales tax category, sales tax is also performing strongly this year. Last fiscal year, we Our sales tax grew by 9%, and we're on target to see growth in that revenue category again this year. Your other revenues, on the revenue side and the debt service on the expenditure side are, it looks like we're below expectations in those categories. That's because in previous years, we had some debt refinancings that are one-time items that tend to increase the percents expected, but we have not had any refinancings this year. On page 4 of the general fund, currently your general fund is $335,046 above the 5-year average. So again, we're performing well. Page 5 is the electric fund. Electric revenues exceed expenditures by $3,630,074. Both revenues and expenditures in the electric fund are above expectations year to date. Electric sales are above expectations 1.2% or $887,240. Page 6 of the electric fund. Currently, the electric fund is $1,010,756 above the 5-year average. Page 7 is the water and sewer fund. Water and sewer revenues exceed expenditures by $2,499,029. Revenues are above expectations. The water and sewer sales line item is $533,654, or roughly 1.57% above expectations through October. Page 8 of the water and sewer fund. Water and sewer is currently $585,916 above your 5-year average. Page 9 is the stormwater fund. Stormwater revenues exceed expenditures by $53,552. Revenues are slightly below expectations in the stormwater fund. On page 10 of stormwater, we're currently $16,143 above the 5-year average in stormwater. The solid waste fund. The solid waste fund is based on 4-year averages because this fund has only been around 4 years. We don't have 5 years worth of data. Expenditures exceed revenues by $143,983. In part, that has to do with 2 large equipment purchases that we appropriated fund balance for last year that carried over into New Year, and we didn't receive the equipment and pay for it until, I think, September. So that was about $414,000 that carried over from old year to new year. That's driving that expenditures over revenues to date. On page 12 of the solid waste fund, currently solid waste is $421,852 below the 4-year average, which is essentially the $414,000 that we carried over in equipment purchases. In the transit fund, page 13, transit expenditures exceed revenues by $400,383. Today, our operating grants are above expectations by $175,748. This has to do with a prior year accrual that was made in September, and we didn't actually receive the revenue, the grant reimbursement, until November. Page 14 of the transit fund, currently transit is $33,162 below the 5-year average. Page 15 is your operating budget summary, and at the bottom, I'll point out the red line where we've spent 33% through roughly 33.3% of the fiscal year, so we're on target there. The last page is the occupancy tax fund. This money comes from the hotels and flows through our budget to the Tourism Development Authority. Currently, our revenues are above expectations, just under 5%. And I will point out the budgeted revenues of $484,500 are, that was based on 5% above last year's budget. But last year, we had budgeted $475,000 in revenues, and we received $567,000. So I would imagine that if we stay on target, we'll again exceed budget by roughly $70,000 or $80,000. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
The last discussion you had about the conference center, or not the conference center, but the hotel occupancy tax revenues, would that have been Exhibit 516?
Yes.
Okay, we don't have that in our agendas.
Oh, okay.
Was that,
Sorry.
okay, so we don't have that. Okay, so, but it was a positive report,
it is.
so
It's very
I don't need any more details.
Okay.
So,
We-
but,
I'll make sure you get a
You
copy.
can email it to us.
Okay.
yeah, it'd be nice to review though.
Okay.
Yeah, so, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So again, occupancy tax revenues are up how much?
Last year, we budgeted $475, we got $567. We got, like roughly $92,000 more than we budgeted in revenues last year. This year, when we did the budget for, occupancy tax, the board, the Tourism Development Authority Board, helped set that budget. They wanted to increase the revenue 5% over the $475, so the budget's $484.5, which is still well below the $567 we received last year. So we should exceed that revenue this year as well.
One more, Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
Mr. Manager, what's the timeline for the Hilton Garden Inn to come online?
They have submitted their plans to us, and they're going to be starting really in the next couple of months. And it's quite a facility, and they're going to, they have submitted all their architectural plans and their site plan. It's been approved, so I would assume that right after the first of the year, they'll get started.
Great.
And while we're talking about this fund, we have a spreadsheet that we'll talk about during the budget, that what happens with the debt with the conference center is that it will start to increase in 2017 or so. By 2020, that's when we'll start to see some issues that if we don't have enough growth in this fund, that it will provide some stress. Also, the other factor is, what is our deficit, operating deficit at the conference center? If we can keep our operating deficit real small and we have growth in the occupancy, then we'll be okay. But if we don't, we're going to have to face a problem, because the way the debt's structured, there is an increasing debt. It'll more than double from what we have now in 2020. That's some years away, but that's what we're watching. So right now, any extra dollars there, we're holding for those years where the debt is going to be higher. The mortgage that we have on that facility, the debt payments are going to be higher. So this is good news, and so keep our fingers crossed and monitor this very carefully.
Now, Melanie, I don't guess we, by chance, have sell to McCannville on electrical, do we, in your fund over here? Or could we?
No.
As of 5 o'clock today? Matt, what do you think? Okay. Just thought I'd throw it out. That's okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Item 6 is a traffic ordinance, Rusty, of always stop at 2nd Avenue and Church Street. Rusty Boss, Director of Engineering.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. This item involves a traffic ordinance at the intersection of 2nd Avenue and Church Street. There's a bit of a blind spot there on eastbound 2nd Avenue, and the city's been working on it for some time. I think it goes back decades that we've been working there. We first put up a hidden driveway sign. As you go over the hill, there's a hair salon on the right-hand side that has a hidden driveway. That didn't seem to quite get it, so then we put up some flashers above the intersection. Church Street, which crosses it, has a stop sign. They have the red flashers. Second Avenue is the through street. It has the yellow flasher. That's been there for some time. We got a call recently from the lady that owns a salon that people were still flying down that road, and we went out and took a look at it. On that side on the downhill side of that intersection, the speed limit is 25 miles an hour. On Church Street, on either side of it, is 25 miles an hour. And on the west side of that intersection of Second Avenue, it's 35 miles an hour. We put the counters out, and 40% of the vehicles were doing like over 35 miles an hour. It is a problem. So we took a look at what else we could do out there, and there were 4 things that we seemed to think would have a big dramatic impact on speeding very quickly. One is speed humps. The other was putting up a traffic signal. Reconstruction of the road, taking the blind hill away and lowering the intersection, and then putting up a 4-way stop sign. Of all of those, the 4-way stop sign seemed to be the most affordable and still stop traffic and slow them down. It's just a minor amount of dollars for the materials to put the new stop signs up, and we simply change out the yellow flashers to red flashers, and we're set. So we reached out to the neighborhood. The church there on the other side of the street, they also they operate a school, so there's a school zone there. We've got absolutely nothing but positive feedback from the neighborhood, the salon, the church, everybody around it. So moving forward, staff recommends that we go ahead and convert that intersection to a 4-way stop sign. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions of Rusty? Yes, sir.
Rusty, I'm glad you reached out to the neighborhood to ask them what they considered, road humps, stoplight, and the 4-way stop. That is excellent with the 4-way stop. I think that's going to slow down quite a bit of people traveling on Second Street the way they are. Can we also incorporate that down towards that neighborhood at all? The neighborhood themselves, they didn't want the road humps, and
Right.
Is there possible at the end of it to put up a 4-way stop there? I don't.
The next intersection has that roundabout in it.
Yeah, but the one after that,
I believe it already
It already has it.
Stop.
it does have a 4-way stop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Edgemont and Cumberland.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a 4-way stop.
Okay.
And 25 miles an hour, but it didn't limit from the 70s. I remember it well. So, is it still 25 up there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, questions? All in favor, please. Raise your hand. Okay, opposed? Thank you, sir. Well, you're next, so.
I'm just gonna hang out right here.
Yeah, just hang out. Item 7 is, you gonna talk about Clemson, or are you just gonna go on? You're not gonna,
I have been
Go
a
ahead.
Clemson
You got
fan for
something
too
on
long
you.
to talk about Clemson.
oh, okay, all right.
I'm not going there.
You're not gonna jinx it?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. Item 7 is award of the contract sewer and water aerial repairs, Stevens Street, Jackson Street, and 10th Avenue and Dixie Street. Once again, Rusty Boss, Director of Engineering, that's item number 7.
Yes, sir. This item involves our sewer system. We have several locations throughout the city where the sewer basically runs off of gravity, and so we have to cross the sewer line above ground. There are concrete piers, brick piers that hold them up. We have some instances where they're failing. I can show you pictures, they'll scare you to death. But that being said, we have these 3 locations that we put out for bid. The budget for this project was $640,000. The low bid came in at $617,000 and change. The low bid contractor was James Harris out of Huntersville. We don't ourselves have any recent work experience with them, but Pioneer, Sanders, and State Utility, the other contractors that bid on this, all do, and they all spoke very highly of James Harrison Construction. So we were pretty satisfied with that record, and we recommend approval of this project.
Okay, questions? Recommendation? Motion?
Second.
Second.
Who's that second from?
That second. Dr. Curley.
Just
Yeah.
side for Sherry. Just tell us
Yeah.
what it is.
Okay.
We gave it to Porter.
You did. Okay, all in favor, motion, please. Okay, thank you very much. That's quite a spread from Mr. Harris to State Utility out of Monroe. like double. No, they wanted to do some real Christmas shopping there, didn't they? Off of us. Okay. Thank you very much, Rusty. That's item 7. Item 8 is a fixing time and place of a city council meeting. City council meetings are currently held at 6 p.m. on the first Tuesday of each month right here, and 6 on the third Tuesday of each month at the courthouse where we were last night. It's a presentation by all of us. Anyone have a suggestion or ideas or leave or what?
I make a motion that we approve.
That's approve leaving it like.
Leaving it like it is.
Is that your second?
Sure,
Or you-
yes.
Okay, all right. All right, discussion? Okay, all in favor? Thank you. That's easy to remember, Ed.
Yes.
Leave criminal minds alone, though. Okay. All right, no way. Okay, item number 9 is selection of mayor pro tem. I, at this time, like to, certainly, I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate the mayor pro tem. And it's good to have someone that you could call on, especially senior citizens. Is there a motion or anyone?
Nominations.
Nomination for
Nominate Todd Pearsall.
Todd Pearsall. Okay, is there a second?
We don't need a second. This is
You don't?
This is nominations.
Huh?
You do need a second
Appointments are for subordinate boards. You do need a second for this.
for the mayor pro tem. Oh, I didn't even need a motion for it.
You need a motion and a second.
Oh, I thought you not
Second.
nominations for that.
So, there is a second? Okay, any discussion?
Well, we can make another nomination too, right?
If council wants to proceed that way. The appointments thing about making multiple names says for subordinate boards. Subordinate boards. The mayor pro tem's not a subordinate board,
Okay,
it's a member of this body. So
Okay, I
I think
understand.
the requirement for a motion and a second applies. There's now a motion before the board. So you need to decide on this motion, and you can make a motion to amend, which has the effect of changing it if you wish. And if you get a second for that, that motion would be voted on first. Okay, so that would be the way you put another name in play,
Oh,
is to make a motion to amend and give another name. Okay.
So I can
There's
make,
mud, right?
so, yeah, so
Yeah.
I can make a motion to amend.
Yes, sir.
If you have another name.
If you have another name.
All right, and the other name is I like to put in Dave Curlin's name.
That's a motion to amend, it needs a second.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Who said that? Okay, there has been a second. Counselor.
So then what does this mean?
We
That's-
vote on the motion to amend first.
Okay.
We can have debate, obviously, on the whole topic of both.
Well, if the debate on the motion to amend, if that motion passes, then Dr. Carlin is the mayor pro tem?
Correct.
Okay.
So that's the ones voted on first?
That's the ones voted on first.
I didn't understand you quite right on that. I thought you said that
Motion to amend will be voted on first.
the motion to amend is to add one. It's not necessarily to vote on that person. Is that right?
No, you can't have more than one that you're voting on because it's not subordinate.
Right.
So if,
This is a member of this body, the mayor pro tem. So the
Right.
motion to amend is for Dr. Curlin's name, so you would vote on that one first. If it passes, then that's mayor pro tem.
okay,
If it doesn't pass, then you would vote on the first motion
okay,
that was made.
okay, so the motion, we are now voting on the amendment.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all in favor of the amendment, raise your hand, please. Okay. two.
Gotta vote for myself.
Yeah. Opposed?
Sounds so awful.
I know, that's what,
That's what it is.
that's what it is. It is, it is.
It is.
Okay, that's, in this case, 42. Well, we understand. Okay, now, is there, the motion's on the table for your motion, and which was seconded, for Todd Pearsall as Mayor Pro Tem. Now, all in favor of that motion, please. Opposed? Okay. So, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, as of right now. the
Thank
pay
you.
is-
Congratulations.
pay is good.
Yeah, the pay's great.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, though.
Okay. Item 10 is the reappointment of the city manager.
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? I got a lot, but I'll keep it. Yes, sir.
I just want to say how thankful I am for the help that Ed has given me over the past couple of weeks. And if his reaching out to me and being available is any indication of the type of city manager that I will be working with, I'm very pleased.
Excellent.
Well said. Thank you very much. All right. Okay. Motion has been made and seconded, and all in favor of the reappointment of city manager, Munn. And all opposed? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, it's easier than, yeah, okay. Thank you, sir. I will say too, Robert, that he is pretty, for an old codger, he's well known. He's pretty well known in this state as being, we're very lucky. We've been told, all of us, that we're lucky. I don't want to give him, the big head, but at the same time, he's, and we're glad to have him.
And Mayor and Council, I have to say, what makes the manager look good is the city staff. And one of the things that I remembered from before, and it's certainly true today, that our city staff is very professional. And you look at all of our city departments, you'll find people who are extremely dedicated to the city and to their profession. And it's a real joy and pleasure to work here, and they're the ones that make me look good and make all of us look good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Ed and I, we lost our hair together in this very building right here. Okay, item 11 is a reappointment of the city clerk and deputy city clerk, which was done a couple weeks ago. Sherry Dunaway sits currently, and Candace Owenby, the deputy city clerk. So, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion? All in favor, please. Okay, got that one. All right, item 12 is appointment of Assistant Deputy Clerk Suzanne Gibbs to take the oath of office.
Second.
Okay, you want her to? Oh, she has to take the oath. Take the oath first. Where is she?
She's back there.
There she is. She left and came back. Oh, no. Down there at the bottom.
She's back, you just couldn't see her behind Chuck.
Nice.
We'll bring him up to the podium.
Yeah. If you please, Suzanne, put your hand on the Bible, please. It's left hand on the Bible. Left hand on the Bible. And repeat after me, if you would. I, Suzanne Gibbs,
I, Suzanne Gibbs,
do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain the Constitution and the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as Assistant Deputy City Clerk of the City of Gastonia, so help me God. Thank you very much.
We've got the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please? It is unanimous. Thank you very much. Now, here's the tough. Let's see what we're going to do with this.
If Chuck gets to participate in the discussion on this.
Okay. Item 13 is reappointment of city attorney. Mr. L. Ashley Smith is currently the city attorney. There's a second. Any discussion?
Oh, plenty of it.
Oh, yeah, man.
We gotta talk and hash this one out.
All in favor of the motion? Oh, we're hashing. Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, sirree. Thank you, sir. And we're very proud of you. We're glad to have you on our side. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Item 14 is appointment for Planning Commission, Ward 6, and also chairman and vice chairman appointment. That's number 14. There was a letter in our agenda from Jason. I think that their request, I believe it was toward the, was it the last thing there? Or 14, no, that's 16. Let's see. There it is. It's item 14-1.
But there's no.
It's before the Recreation Advisory Commission report. And that's Jason Thompson, and he's, there, I'll just read it very quickly. Of course, we gave the award to Mr. Jack Bradshaw, who was, I believe, the chairman of the current planning commission. Yes, he was. Serving as chairman for the Ward 6 seat, has informed staff he is resigning and has resigned and will not be able to serve the remainder of his term on the commission due to other personal obligations. The term of office for Ward 6 will expire June 30th, 2017. A new member would fill the remaining term of this seat. At their October 8th, 15th meeting, the Planning Commission voted to recommend to the council that Pamela Good, I believe, Good or Good? That could be either. Good. And Bob St. Mars be appointed as chairman and vice chairman of the commission respectively. If there's any, well, let's go from there. And that was from Jason. So I guess at this time, what we need to do is, Ash, is pick a chairman and vice chairman.
Yes, sir. And the Ward 6 appointment also needs to be made. You might want to do that first, so then you have a full complement of the Planning Commission to choose your chairman and vice chairman from. I believe Mr. Humphries has a name to put in for Ward 6.
It's your ward, Mr. Councilman.
I do. At this time, I'd like to nominate Bob Biggerstaff to fill the unexpired term as the Ward 6 representative on the Planning Commission. Mr. Biggerstaff he lives on Park Lane in Ward 6. He's been the owner of a family business here in Gastonia since 1948. I've known him for many years. He's a good businessman. I've always found him to be an honest and caring person. He's fair and extremely ethical. Mr. Biggerstaff previously has served on the city council in the 70s, I believe maybe with Mr. Mayor, alongside Mayors Bradley and Jeffers. He's currently serving as an alternate appointee on the City of Gastonia Board of Adjustment, and I feel he's the best choice. Would definitely be an asset to the City of Gastonia and the Planning Commission, and urge he be approved.
Do we make that a motion?
He's made it in motion.
That was a motion. Okay, discussion? Okay, he's been there, well, he's seen it all, he certainly has. I grew up next door to his parents, so, I mean, we grew up side by side, so.
Actually, can I make an amendment to that motion so that we can go ahead and approve the Ward 6 appointment and also appoint Pam Good as chair and Bob St. Mars as vice chair to the commission?
If Mr. Humphries will accept that amendment, because it was originally his motion.
Yes. Okay, so it's been amended.
It's been amended.
Second.
Said no second, okay. Any questions or discussion on our vote is for, just like it reads in item 14, with those names. Bob Biggerstaff as the appointment to Ward 6, and to take Mr. Bradshaw's seat, and also good for chairman and Bob Seekmar as vice chair.
Correct.
All in favor of the motion? Okay, opposed? It is unanimous. So they're back whole again. So
Yeah.
great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Item 15. Appointment schedule for December 15th council meeting coming up. In other words, our next one. And we see what we have. Some of you, there's it looks like a standing committee that's out here, facilities management. But over, you see what we have. It says for information and discussion only, but we have current representatives where there's a vacancy, and just going all the way. Of course, we've talked about this for several meetings back and forth, and never did really come up with a lot of names. But I won't go over all of them. Well, I guess we just, you have them, and it has has the names, where the vacancies are, of course, naturally need to be placed. And Ash, I guess at this time, could I ask if anyone has, would volunteer for a vacancy?
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
who would vote for it?
If you want to make a motion tonight and do anything tonight, you can.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I think Mr. Munn had prepared the agenda stating it would be on the 15th to give everyone time to think about it.
Okay,
So, it's at the pleasure of council.
yeah, here's the council standing committees that you've given us. Yes, sir.
Can I take myself off something?
I'm
You
right
leaving-
behind you.
You just wanna go down the list in order?
You leaving the council?
No,
Oh,
this is COG. I don't have time for the, to be the alternate. I mean, the alternate can go as well as the person that's in charge of it. But I just haven't been able to attend the meetings. I've just been too. So, I just
Take
want
you
to,
off the
yeah,
list.
if you don't mind as an alternate,
Two vacancies.
You have
Yeah.
2 vacancies then.
yeah, so.
This is what we can, think about and discuss, and certainly on any of these, or all of them, whatever, and discuss it in our next meeting, is it.
Well, Mayor, I know for Councilman Kimball, who's not with us anymore, was the ABC Board representative, and it's now vacant.
Yeah.
And I know Councilwoman McAteer has expressed interest, and unless anybody else has interest, I will go ahead and nominate him for that position. Make a motion and for him to fill that vacancy.
Second.
You saying that's the best you can do? It sort of sounded that way. Okay, there is a second. Any discussion? Questions? All in favor of the motion? Okay, it is unanimous. Okay, so that's one that, Mr. McAteer will be that's a liaison, it's not a voting member, but it's a
Correct.
liaison, same, just like Mr. Kimball had, is that right?
Correct.
All right, okay.
Won't be in a minute.
Got rid of that one. All right, you want to go on any more, Dave? You wanna-
Yeah, I'll continue if someone doesn't want to arm wrestle me for it.
Make a
Okay.
motion that Dave Carlin be chairman.
Okay.
I second that.
Recreation, all right, discussion? All in favor? Okay, you do a marvelous job.
Thank you.
Don't stop. MPO, Todd, that's you and Dr. Curley.
I would like to take my name off the MPO. I've served for 16 years, and I'm just ready for a change. And want to say that the MPO representative should probably be on our own transportation committee also. So I would create another vacancy in the transportation committee too. So whoever replaces me on one should take the other
Okay, the
for
vacancy, no.
continuity.
That was Brenda. Who was chair?
Actually,
Campbell.
Walter,
Campbell.
Walt was the
Walter
chair.
took Brenda's spot
Okay,
earlier.
all right, and certainly to the new 2 gentlemen that are with us, that joined us, any of these that, and we not necessarily have to make a decision for another couple of weeks, but if you read over or want to talk, I'm sure to Dr. Curlin or anyone about
Right.
serving on these boards.
Right.
Mr.
We'd like
Mayor?
to have you both.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
If I could just interject about the MPO, and Councilman Curlin or Councilman Pearsall may want to, elaborate on it. There is some extra paperwork that you have to fill out to be on that. I believe there's some financial disclosure requirements.
There's a
that-
statement of economic interest.
Right.
That you must fill out. It's more in terms of just a concern about any kind of conflict of interest. Typically would be involving people who would be holders of real estate, more than likely, as compared to other types of assets. So I didn't find it ever to be all that
Intrusive.
intrusive.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very vague, it's very general. I signed off on it, multiple times.
I just wanted to bring it up because it was an issue for some people, I think, Ms.
Yeah,
Craig.
I'll
No,
remember.
It was for her.
Was it anything-
It was
Yeah.
for her.
Anything on stocks, bonds, mutual funds, or anything?
No,
Okay.
yeah, certainly nothing of any detail.
I think you described it perfectly.
Yeah,
Basically, if you own real estate, they want you to declare it, and that way, if you're discussing any transportation projects, be it roads, greenways, sidewalks that are gonna impact your property, they know about it, you disclose it, so I didn't feel it was too intrusive either.
So, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Could we go ahead and appoint Todd Pearsall to the Metropolitan Planning Organization?
I'd like to remain as I am the current chair of the MPO, so.
Okay.
Sure?
Yeah,
Ready?
I'd like to remain if I could.
It's a big job.
Okay. That's your motion.
Yes, sir.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. All in favor? Man, you're elected. I'm trying to figure out how I'm writing this on, get my code. Okay. So we'll need certainly someone for the MPO, at some point.
And just to bring up something, I know it's not on here, but it has come up before. With Gastonia being one of the larger municipalities, we do have 2 voting members of the MPO. A lot of the municipalities have 1. This is very important, but for the last 4 years, we've been operating without an alternate. And we do have the right to have an alternate that could fill in for myself or whoever else goes on. So I'd kind of actually like to see with the MPO, you have your 2 representatives and an alternate that is listed.
When does it meet?
When does it meet?
Yeah, when does the MPO?
Every other month.
Okay, what time?
It's,
6 or
yeah,
something.
well, you usually have dinner at 5:30 and
Yeah.
then the meeting starts at 6, but I think it's Thursday, 6:30, and it's on Thursdays usually.
Now, where do you meet, Shelby?
No, we meet at the Gastonia Police Department Community
Oh,
Room,
okay.
but it's every other month.
I'd be interested
Uh,
in taking Dr. Carlin's place.
Okay.
Okay.
Then I also move
You move that?
David Humphries
Mhm.
be
Okay.
a part of the Metropolitan Planning Organization.
All right.
I'll second.
Second, okay. Any discussion? All in favor? David? Okay, thank you very much. So, and we still would be looking for an alternate, okay?
Right,
Between
and
now and then.
Right, and it doesn't have to be filled immediately, but
Yeah.
it is helpful because if for some reason, if Dave or I was not able to go to the meeting,
Right.
we in fact give up a vote on any issue that night.
And it's very important, that body, the MPO, the state has put more and more emphasis on it. The decisions made there can kill a project or advance a project. We are now a 3-county MPO, which means Cleveland County and Lincoln County representatives are there. So if you want the voice of Gastonia to be heard and the projects that are here in Gaston County, we need to make sure that we are there in attendance and use both our votes.
I'll go for the alternate.
Okay, I so move that Jim Gallagher is alternate.
I'll second.
Discussions? All in favor of Mr. Gallagher? Okay, as an alternate.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, so David is approved and Jim's approved and Todd's approved, so
Mr.
we're
Mayor.
done. Yes, sir.
I was gonna ask, maybe, Mr. Kellogg might be interested in going to the museum, being one of those 2.
Well, it's coming. Right, I'm getting ready to.
Okay, I just.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he is, but.
If he is.
Yeah, the next one, if y'all want to discuss, we can go down, right down quickly and do them. Shield Museum Board of Directors, Jim Gallagher and Dave Curley. You like
Me
that?
too.
You guys,
Porter,
I'm sorry, Porter, they like it.
aren't we doing a good enough job?
That's fine.
Okay.
50,000, trust me,
I can write
letters in the
Where's that big
I'll make-
snake? Is that big, you bring it with you?
May I make,
I'm gonna put it in Porter's backyard.
It's in the, it was the
may
day.
I, to resolve this, may I make a motion that Jim Gallagher and Dave Curley continues their record?
Boy, he watered out of
I
that.
will second that motion.
Okay. Both want to serve.
Man,
All in favor?
That's fine, I didn't know.
Okay, all right, now, the COG, Central Carolina Council of Government is the, we have 2 vacancies,
Yes.
okay? And that was, who's the first one?
That was vacated by
nominate
Mr.
Robert.
Kimball.
That was Walter Kimball.
I nominate Councilman Kellogg.
I'll second.
There it
Second.
is, okay. Say what?
I nominate Councilman Robert Kellogg to be Central Carolina Government's main person.
Liaison.
Liaison, yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Where's Walt's seat? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay, there is a motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor Yes, sir.
Oh, I was just gonna ask him if he wanted it. I hadn't heard
I
him
guess
say
you
yes.
Yeah, we,
I wanted to make sure we wouldn't
I
put
hope
him
you
somewhere
do.
where he didn't want to be.
Okay. Is there a motion for, an alternate to take Mr. Gallagher's place, Councilwoman?
Does that have to be someone that's elected?
I believe so, but I'll double check, because I think we asked
Hold
that
that.
question before, but I'll double check.
We'll hold that one
Okay.
until you do find out.
it's informative, you know, I mean,
Yeah, we need to know.
they,
It is
you could
informative.
both go together. And, you know, the thing about it is they do have dinner and they talk.
They have
Oh,
dinner.
well.
And they talk a lot. No, they do. I mean,
Since you put it that way.
Is it a good dinner?
it's a good
Yeah,
dinner.
well, you could.
But anyway,
Okay.
you'll meet Joe Carpenter.
Okay. We'll have that one. If you find out, Ed, we can go. The Electric Cities / Power Agency, the delegate is Ed, and the alternate is Flip, and the alternate is Michael Peoples, all here tonight.
I make a motion, we accept.
Second.
Second.
Okay, discussion? That suit everyone? Okay, all in favor? That suit them, okay? Thank you. Image Campaign Steering Committee.
For the Greater Gaston Development Corporation.
Okay, well,
One of those
are
two
they,
is separated.
why are they're separate on here?
I'm not sure why it's separated. It's the same thing. It's the Image Campaign Steering Committee for the Greater Gaston
Yeah.
Development Corporation.
Right, I just think the lines just got separate.
And I'll state, I'm willing to remain on that, and it's probably a good idea to leave Ed and I on that, because we are
Okay.
actually in the middle
Motion?
of a contract
I so moved.
Is
negotiation.
there a second?
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? You're still on there. Thank you.
Just because we're in the middle of negotiating.
Well, keep negotiating.
But I think we really do want to hear from, we want to report back as soon as this consultant starts, and we really want to get all of your ideas about image and promoting Gastonia and Gaston County. That's, because there's, money's going to be there, we might as well spend it wisely.
Right. Okay, the audit / bids insurance, Chairman's Dave Curlin, and the vacancy, and Jim Gallagher. So we need to fill a vacancy.
Either of our new members were
Anybody
interested in that
volunteer?
committee?
I'll volunteer.
You volunteer? Okay, Robert?
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Or do we have to make a motion on that, or can we just accept?
Yes.
Okay, I make the motion for Robert Kellogg to fill the vacancy on the audits bids.
Second.
Insurance.
Discussion, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Awards, ceremonies, and promotions, Jim Gallagher's chairman, and Todd Pearsall, and there is a vacancy. Anyone like to have that? Y'all like to stay on?
If I could just add,
Yes.
that is at each meeting, if we have any awards, ceremonies, and promotions, the council member will read those promotions and do that part of the agenda. And that's typically been rotated among whoever's willing to volunteer and the junior members of the council. That's just a tradition, but you don't have to continue to adhere to that.
And that committee does not meet very often at
We
all.
did meet.
You didn't hear the last part. I said very often. So that's not a lot of extra
I'll
time.
volunteer for that.
All right, sir. Thank you. We have a motion of David Humphries.
Second.
So moved.
Okay. All in favor, please?
Porter motioned and Jim seconded.
And so that one's taken care of there. Central City Revitalization, there it is. Todd Pearsall's chairman, and we have 2 vacancies
Dave, did you
Oh,
want
yeah,
that?
I
Yeah.
nominate Dave Curlin.
Yeah.
I'll second that nomination.
on the Central City.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. In the discussion, all in favor, please. Okay.
Did anybody else want to be
Anybody
on
else?
the Central?
I'm interested in that one.
Okay.
I'll nominate Robert Kellogg
Okay.
for the remaining vacancy.
Second.
Okay. Discussion, all in favor? Thank you. That was taken care of. Intergovernmental Relations and Economic Development, Porter McAteer Chair, and Todd Pearsall is a member and a vacancy.
Has that met?
No.
Mm-mm.
Kinda I
We
like.
should be meeting with, like, the county and some others.
Yeah.
We haven't.
There we go.
Anybody like to volunteer for the
Well,
vacancy?
that sounds like a real good
That's
committee
a
to get
good
on.
one, yeah.
I just didn't know if
Busy,
maybe
busy,
council
busy.
wanted to fold it into, you know,
Something else.
facilities management. I don't know. It was just a thought.
We can do that later.
Okay, well.
No
let's-
volunteers
let's-
for
Let's
that
think on
vacancy?
that one till the
Okay.
next meeting then, okay? The, personnel. We have, Dave Curlin and Porter McAteer and a vacancy. The chairman is a vacancy.
Do either of you want to move into the chairmanship?
Yeah, I'll do
I-
that.
You want to do it, Porter?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
So Porter, I make a motion that Porter become the, or the mayor
Second.
usually just appoints the chairman, doesn't he? Ash?
Yes, the mayor usually proposes a
Oh.
slate that is approved by the council.
Okay, or do you want us to go ahead and vote on that now, Mayor?
Yeah.
Okay, I make the motion to, for
Suits you.
Porter McAteer to be
And-
the chairman of the personnel committee.
And I second it.
Okay,
We need a,
discussion
okay.
on that one, all in favor? And of course, we need,
Vacancy.
well, we have, we need another member. If you're chairman, right?
I'll volunteer for them.
Okay,
Motion to approve David Humphries for the vacancy on the personnel committee.
all right. Second the motion?
Second.
Okay. Discussion, all in favor? Okay, so now personnel, the chairman is Porter McAteer, and then on it is David Curlin, and then David, the two David. Okay, all right. That one's taken care of. Personnel, public safety, which is a brand new one. The chairman is Jim Gallagher, and Todd Pearsall is on that committee along with a vacancy.
That one I would like to be considered for.
I move that
That's
Dave
good.
Humphries fill that vacancy.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion, all in favor, David Humphries, for public safety. Yeah. Moving right along. Utilities, Porter is chairman, and Jim Gallagher's on that board. Now there's a vacancy. Anyone interested in utilities?
You will do that? Somebody else? Robert?
Yeah.
Robert, no?
Okay,
Nominate Robert Kellogg.
all right.
I'll second the nomination of Robert Kellogg.
All right, discussion, all in favor? Raise your right hand, please. Thank you very much. That one's taken care of, and thank you for that. Transportation is, the chairman is a vacancy now, and we have Dave Curlin and Todd Pearsall. Y'all had a lot of fun together.
And Dave has to be
come off
removed.
there because
You
of
want, yeah, I've got off.
Okay.
Well, let me,
Got you off right here.
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, if I could,
Yeah.
make Todd Pearsall chairman since he's our representative on the MPO. Move that.
That's fine.
Is that good?
And one of the two vacancies, put David Humphries on,
Okay.
and do that both in one motion.
I second.
Todd's chairman, and then David Hunt, we still, minus one, aren't we?
Still minus one.
Okay.
I'll volunteer to do that.
You want to do it first?
I'll do it. I'll volunteer to be on the
Okay.
transportation committee.
Motion to approve. Well, we can just include all,
Yes,
All that in one motion.
Let's include them all with the motion and the second, so that,
All right.
because we already got that, right?
Well, folks, that's, we got
have to
two,
vote on that.
we'll go down, yeah, we'll vote. Everybody
got
in
one
favor
more.
of that one.
everybody in favor of that?
Yeah, this one that was floating around here. Facilities management, it looks like there's a vacancy for the chairman.
I would be
Well,
happy
was chairman,
to
but then there's Todd,
volunteer to
David.
chair that one.
Big bird.
I'll make the motion for Dave Curlin to be chairman.
And I
of
second it.
Facilities Management.
Second.
Okay, discussion, all in favor, please raise your hand.
We still have a
So
vacancy.
now we're looking for a person to take David's place.
I nominate David Humphries to fill the vacancy.
Okay,
Second.
discussion, all in favor? All right, that takes care of that one. That only leaves really two or three for us to decide, Ed. You're gonna check on COG, and I think there's one or two more.
I think there's only two, the
Maybe
COG
two.
and intergovernment relations.
Now, didn't know, it didn't work that way 4 years ago. We had to stretch it out. quite a bit then, yeah.
We're off to a good start.
Off to a good start, yes, sir. And thank y'all for that. I think that's the way to certainly get your feet wet, all of us. But item 16 is the Recreation Advisory Commission report. The chairman is Councilman Curley, and it would be item 16.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Recreation Advisory Commission met on Tuesday, November 10th, and we had several items which require no action, but are updates of various sorts. And quite frankly, I would be happy to sit here and read this, which would be rather boring. But we have a very, astute chairperson here who I'd like to kind of summarize this. I think, Chuck, you can probably do this quicker than I can read this. So if you don't mind, because I know you even have some additional updates.
Are we talking about you? He said astute? Okay.
Well, I think the man has a chance to speak because, yeah, he needs to defend himself at this point.
I used to choose words so careful.
It's all right. No harassment from me. Thank you, Dr. Curlin, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I will say this. I would like to say this, that I have enjoyed working with the majority of you here, and I know that the two new members here, I look forward to getting to know you and working with you as well. And if there's anything in Parks and Recreation, if you'd like to visit or sit down and chat, I know you're just getting your feet wet with a lot of things, and I know Mr. Munn's filled you full of a lot of facts and figures and things, but whenever you want to do something fun and do something recreationally, ride around the lake or something, let me know, and we'll take a ride and do that. At your
Sounds
pleasure.
good.
So, thank you, Dr. Curlin. We do have several projects. Our tennis courts the courts themselves are complete and open to the public. We are finishing up that contract, and we took the sidewalks and access areas out of the contract, and hopefully in the next 2 weeks, Custom Paving has put in a bid, and we'll get those sidewalks in there and complete within the next month. Pickleball courts and volleyball to follow pretty quickly. Lineberger Park Greenway parking area there at the corner of Fern Forest. Project was moving along really well until November and all the rain, and it looks like that's going to probably be January, February type finish, if we can get that in a paving went in there. So that project, the rain put it on hold. Maples on Main, this project was, I've never seen a project go from a very rough conceptual plan into starting it as quickly as this project. And I know a couple of colleagues of mine, Public Works Director and Electrical Enterprise Services guys were, kind of cringing about what's underneath, and wanting to know what was underneath. But we have met as a full city staff with all departments looking at it, and still there's a lot of unknowns, but we had a test plot. We were going to start with a test plot that Electrical felt like that was going to be one of their toughest areas that they were going to have to work around. There at Oakland Street toward Main on the south side, there behind the First Methodist Church Family Life Center. We were going to do 3 or 4, try 3 or 4 plots, because we have to take the lights, the street lights down to do this project. I'm going to give you a few before and after pictures of how that is, and I'll tell you, this is a very coordinated effort between a lot of city departments, electrical, public works, streets, parks and recreation, or downtown crews worked hard. What we're trying to do is do it as cleanly as we can, as safely as we can, and instead of doing 3 trees, we got in and started doing it pretty well. The electrical department guys felt kind of froggy, felt good about what they were doing, and so we wound up putting 10 trees in. So that's sort of a before picture, and that's how we cover those homes up and keep it safe. And this is one with the tree planting, and I had heard of Encore azaleas, but I honestly didn't realize that's what I knew we were putting them in there, but those are azaleas and they are blooming. They bloom three times a year. And, as you can see, we're doing our very best to make sure that we create no mess, keep the sidewalks clean. I put this one in here, that was one there, and we do not have a 10-foot guy working for us. That's what it looked like to me.
There's his legs. Big old fella.
Minute bowl does not work for us. Just a couple of completed
That's beautiful.
pictures, just kind of give you a little idea of what it's going to look like with the plot. And this is winter time, and the reeds there. And I thought the angle from the other side really showed up with the light posts and the sidewalk and the way that's going to look. So we're going to move forward. We will not do anything, disturb anything until after the Christmas parade. We felt confident about getting this completed, so we would not be in their way. We're notifying all the businesses and making sure they're abreast of what we're doing, when we're doing it, so we will not interfere with what the goings-ons are. I really don't know what we're calling this park at the corner of 2nd Avenue and Marietta Street. That's part of that KGB funding. I do know that the concrete is gone. We're getting ready to pour concrete on it, so that project is moving as well. We don't have a lot of big projects, but we've got several small projects that are in line, and those are going well. Any questions on the projects?
Yes.
Two questions, Chuck. One, with Maples on Main, are we gonna be putting down benches downtown?
Yes, sir. There will be, I want to say, almost, I think it's 22, 23.
I know that Shelby had put some down near downtown, and they've taken them up, a lot of them, because they had some people sleeping on them.
We don't purchase those kind. We don't purchase the Serta benches. The ones
I'm just letting you know.
I'm sorry, Councilman Gallagher.
Just letting you know that we may wanna
We do
put a
pur-
few out before we put them all out.
We purchase those so it has that rail in the middle, so you can't, you have to, it's almost an individual seat is what is the type of bench that we're looking at. The long 8-foot benches where you see folks that stretch out on them in a lot of cities that is something.
But even in Charlotte with the thing in the middle, they managed to rest. I see it when I go to work. The other thing is, we have taken up a lot of the trees over by the bus station, a lot of the birches. They took down all the birches. Could they put some of these trees over there?
There's opportunities for some of these, and we're also moving a couple of the other, actually there's about 35 or 40 of the trees that we're going to be able to move and relocate. But we can see, we don't take any tree out unless it's a dead tree or it's causing problems somewhere. But I honestly don't know exactly why we took, I think those river birds, we were having some problems with those.
Yeah, they don't do well down in this climate at all. So I was thinking maybe the maples would do better over there, that's all.
We'll look at that. The price we're getting for these trees, we should be able to do some more of that.
Excellent.
Any other questions? Yes.
Just a quick comment to everybody involved, from the REC to Parks and Rec to KGB. The last two things there on item 1, the Maples on Main and the 2nd Avenue, I've heard so many comments, all positive, especially Maples on Main, because they've actually seen some of the trees go in. But I've heard a lot of people that drive by 2nd, and they're like, what's going on there? And you tell them it's going to be a park, and they're thrilled. So just really, really positive feedback on both of those projects.
And that is City Forces Labor and Public Work. Every department that we work with on any of these projects, it's been a really, really good effort and a good team effort from the planning all the way to fruition of these.
Well, good job. Thank you, guys.
Chuck, help us out. If any of us wanted to feel froggy, what do you do? How you do that? You used to say if you feel froggy, leap, but that was a fight, I think. But I heard you.
I'm not gonna.
Well, I heard you say that.
My Serta joke got me eyebrow raised from the city manager, so I'm gonna hold off.
No, well,
I'll try to be square. the rest.
Any other questions of Chuck? Yes, sir.
Chuck, if we wanted to rename a park that's over by Firestone Mill to Brenda Craig Park, how would we be able to do that?
Ms.
think
Craig
there's-
didn't want it. I mean,
She said no.
unless she's changed her mind.
She changed her mind.
She did.
Oh, she did? No, I mean, you're telling me. I mean, we talked yesterday, I thought.
Well,
She does not want it.
She doesn't want it.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know about that, but I know that part of the condition with, you know, the Optimus Club giving the land was that the park remain named after them.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's touchy.
I remember talking to her right and I said, Brenda, you know, we've got to put your name here. I mean, look what you've done. And she said, I do not want that, you know, I don't want my name, you know, this is for the community. She at the time, she said, no. Now, and so when I said, well, I think I got stuck in it because I said something yesterday about
yeah.
it. But it really is. It's her park. I mean, if it was not for Brenda Craig, we wouldn't have that park.
Right.
I mean, and there's no question about it. But the name itself was what she wanted it to be at the time, and she said she did not want the personal, that her name on it back then, so.
Okay.
But in reality, it's Brenda Craig Park.
Yeah.
I think.
It's a good thought. She just wants to remain.
Yeah.
It is. And those balls are hard the Gallaghers, they're hard to deal with. They're hard, I mean, change your mind.
They definitely stick to their guns.
Any other questions?
A couple other items that we discussed, and one I wanted to talk with you about is our Highland Community Program collaboration. We are working with the African American Concerned Citizens of Highland, Reverend Fleming's group, along with the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, the Sheriff's Department, and our City Police Department and our staff are working on programs and things for Irwin Center, with the Y moving out of the downtown area and that area, west side area. They wanted to work and partner with some things, so we formed a full collaboration. I want to tell you that a couple of the things that we are presently working on is they have time, and a lot of them want to help mentor our youth there at Irwin Center. And I feel like it's going to be a really nice pilot program that may spur something in our other community centers as well. But we're adapting our Park Watch program, which is where the citizens are our eyes and ears in our parks. We're adapting that to indoors and the facility there at Irwin Center, where those folks, they sign up, they have to have a background check, but they are our eyes and ears actually inside the building as well, and the facility. We are collaborating for a health fair. We're collaborating with a college day at Irwin. We are also looking at several programs that are going to look at intervention. We're looking at several programs of mentoring type issues, especially if we have repeated offenders that get thrown out of the community center for several different things, and some of it could be just basic rules violations. And what this group is willing to help us do is to sit down and mentor and actually have a set structured type 30-minute class that they can actually that'll get them back in. It may get them back in quicker, and hopefully get them in this other program as well. So it is a good collaboration. We're really looking forward to continued work with them. Our aquatics, any question on that collaboration or any comment?
Quick comment, I meet with Reverend Fleming regularly, and he's very complimentary of the Parks and Rec Department and also the Police Department on the response that they've gotten, and very hopeful for the outcomes with the kids that this program's working with. So thank you for that, because every time I've met with him, he's had nothing but positive things to say about Parks and Rec and the Police Department.
We pulled in other folks as well that we think is really, with the Y in West Gastonia providing some programming, and several of the churches and several of the members of his group are actually ministers in that area as well. So we're actually setting up a pickleball. We're going to have indoor pickleball at Irwin Center. We're going to do that one day a week on Tuesdays, and several of the folks in this group are actually tennis players, and Mr. Adams is going to get his wish, and we're going to have another pickleball place with a lot of that group over there participating. Our aquatics pool management, as you know, we contracted out our pool management for this past year, and it was very successful. We had very few problems, very minor problems. This is the first year in my 36 years of being involved with swimming pools that we actually, on our account, made money with our figures, and our figures, a pool season stretches 2 budgets. So with our numbers, it looks like we have come up not only with the savings of things that we did not have to put into the contract, or salaries, or drug testing, or anything that we have to do that's sort of ancillary to having those positions. We actually made a profit of a couple of $1,000, and that's pretty unheard of with pools. So knock on wood, we're going with this management company again, and we are really looking forward to the pools at least being a sustainable and viable thing. A lot of things play into that. Weather, and we had a lot more birthday parties and swim parties and a lot of other things going on. It has to be the perfect storm for that to happen, but it's not like in the old days subsidizing for every person to come in the pool that, you're subsidizing $3 for them to go into the pool. So it is a viable business, so to speak.
Congratulations.
One of the other items is Phillips Center, and we did have some program discussion. Phillips Center has all of our community centers have a lot of the same amenities. Phillips Center had one of those amenities is a community room, a meeting room. The meeting room, community room at Phillips Center has evolved into like a gym, like a weight room. It's been like 20 years in the making, and we've had folks give us things, and that's sort of the clientele that we had that was wanted. It was sort of our staff that was over there at that time that it kind of evolved into. And to get it and to get it right, we would have to spend $50,000 to $75,000. And honestly, risk management and with the availability of cheap fitness centers and things around, we really need a meeting room, an activity room at the center. We weren't able to host a lot of area meetings with schools, functions. We weren't able to do a lunch program in the summertime with our kids. We actually did it, but we did it in another area and closed it down. So what staff is, what we're doing is we're going to phase it out, and this was Recreation Advisory Commission's recommendation to us was to phase it out. We're not going to buy any more equipment. We're going to have a 2-month notice, and that it will be closed, and then we'll surplus the equipment. I know that there's a couple other departments that are looking for exercise equipment to have spaces to do that. Weights is basically what it is. A lot of our stuff is the old universal machines, and as soon as it becomes unsafe, we take it out. But we're also, Recreation Advisory Commission asked us to go to a couple of the gyms, especially the one that is $10 a month, that's very reasonable, and see if they wouldn't either have reduced coupons or whatever for the numbers that use it. In reality, we would have 30 to 40 times use of that facility if it was a meeting room, activity room. That would fit all ages and not the 16 to 30-year-old age group that we're targeting now. Any questions on that?
I just want to mention that Mr. Dellinger has been a part-time department head now for a little while. This is for the new council members, and I just want to publicly recognize the hard work he's done, because quite frankly, he's part-time, but he seems awfully full-time in terms of his dedication to his job and what he does for the city. And we want to thank you because we don't know how much longer you're going to be around. You never know when, you know, the big fish is going to call and you're going to go fishing. So.
As long as 4 of you like Ed and Ed likes me, we're okay, right?
Together with you.
Making up for that eyebrow earlier.
So, well, we thank you, Chuck. You continue to do a wonderful job for us.
Well, I'll tell you, the city of Gastonia, I've been blessed to be involved with many elected officials, many folks, many hard-working folks, and I enjoy my time here and enjoy what I do. Most of the time I'm here, honestly, I'm not working. It's a pleasure to be around, honestly. It really is. But I'll tell you, I'm gonna cut it short because I got a 4-hour ride ahead of me. I'm going to Merle's Inlet fishing for the rest of the week, so.
There you go. Well, enjoy, be safe. All right, thank you. Thank you for your
Lots of
report.
luck.
That ends my report, Mayor.
All right, sir. End report there. 4-hour ride. Okay. Thank you, Dave. City Attorney's report.
No report, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Okay. Item 18 is probably the city manager's report. Yeah.
Mayor, just sending out these notices, just passing that out here. I will say there's a true story about Chuck when he was a young fellow working in recreation. He lived in Cherville, and what he would do is he would be working so late at night that it would be a long drive back to Cherville, and he had a place at the fire station, right? And so they had an extra cot for him. So he would be working all day and into the night and then sleeping at the cot at the fire station so he could get up early in the morning to work the next day here. So.
The food was good there too, right?
But,
That's not, don't do that on a park bench now.
thank you. These are the announcements. There's also, in our previous announcement, remember there is that function all day long on Thursday, that the city planning function. The Central Iowa Council of Governments having their annual meeting here in Gastonia at our conference center. It's all day long. So I think a lot of you have registered. If there's anyone that wants to register last minute, let us know. We'll get you in. So that's an important meeting. A couple of other things.
Ed, what day is that?
Thursday, this Thursday. Yeah.
9 o'clock.
A couple of other things. Here we are in December, so it won't be long before we need to roll up our sleeves and go through the budget process. But we always have, before the budget process, a strategic planning retreat. And strategic planning retreats, sometimes, you know, we talk about big picture items, talk about vision, talk about what we want to accomplish. There's never a more important meeting than that first meeting of a new city council. It's your chance to talk big picture, vision. What is it that you want to do? Surprisingly, most of the projects and things that we do, by the time you have the idea to the time you actually get the project done, it can be 4 years. So if you don't quickly decide what it is you want to do as a city council and get us working toward that, we will sometimes spin our wheels. So the quicker we can decide what our vision is and what we want to accomplish, some of this in 2 years, because there's some things we can do in 2 years, and there's some things that might take longer. In the city, most of the things that we do are just going to be the regular old, you know, you got to repave the streets, you got to fix broken lines. It's not exciting. You got to pay your people, but it has to be done, and that's most of it. But there are, throughout the city, opportunities to make a step forward, to have initiatives in our center city and downtown, in our utility systems. So right now we're doing a big water plant, and that is the water plant renovation, and that's going to be moving on. But then there's, you know, the many other projects that are out there that we could do and programs that we could do. This meeting, our first meeting that we have, it's always in January, the 2 weekends I'm suggesting you take a look at your schedule to see if it would work, would be the, traditionally the council does this on a Saturday morning. we don't have to. If you want to do it on a Friday, we can do it that way. But Saturday, the 23rd of January or the 30th of January. Those are two Saturdays which the Panthers will not be playing. One is it's the weekend before the Super Bowl, and the other one is that they would have already narrowed it down, so it's only the championship game on Sunday. If you go any earlier, you'll get into the potential of Panther games and things like that. So now those are two Saturday, if you want to do it Saturday. The staff is open to doing it in the evenings during the week or something like that in January. But we need to attack this thing in January. And so what we're going to try to do is send you some information ahead of time so that we can hit the ground running at that first meeting to talk about what we want to accomplish. Then after that, there'll be the regular budget meetings. And sometimes the budget will end up constraining us, that we will only be able to do some of the things we want to do. But at least in this first meeting, we should, spend some time doing some visioning. What do we want to do? What do we want to accomplish? So anyway, if you could look at your schedule, we'll be communicating with you, and perhaps by the next council meeting to lock that in as to when we want to have the strategic planning meeting.
I'm good with the 23rd. Anybody else?
23rd works perfect.
Yeah, I can't do the 30th.
Okay.
Yeah, 30th stretch.
Porter?
I'll go anytime.
23rd? Mr. Mayor?
I don't have a calendar for the yet set up.
Well, then there must not be anything on it.
23rd sounds good?
Yeah,
Okay.
we
David? Robert?
Sounds good.
Let's
Maybe the 23rd.
Maybe.
23rd?
Put it for the 23rd.
Yeah, let's put it for the 23rd. Do we start at 8:30, and is it going to be, where are we having it, at the conference center?
We can have it here at City Hall, or we can have it at the conference center. If we have it at the conference center, we pay the conference center. It helps their bottom line. We pay them, they charge us. It lowers our bottom line. Upstairs.
We'll go upstairs.
Just do
If we do it upstairs, staff has to do all the work,
Oh,
cater it and everything else. I
Yeah.
suggest we go to the conference center.
I agree.
yeah, okay, conference
It's
center.
not gonna
it is.
cost us that much.
Right,
Yeah.
and, yeah, conference center. All in favor?
Yeah.
We'll
So-
check their
Is
availability.
there the
available.
need, or would it be of benefit to have this kind of process facilitated? Have an outside person who, has no skin in the game, who just kind of runs the show.
No, I don't think so.
I'm just asking a question.
Yeah,
I like when he runs the show,
I like him.
the city manager, I know, he knows what's going on, so.
Over the years, we've done it both ways, whatever the pleasure of the
Yeah.
council.
Yeah, I like
The next item, I wanted to report to the council that I think everybody has read that the county has a program where there's $500,000 reserved for each of the county commissioners for improvements to Gaston County. For the Gastonia Township, they're divided by township. And so the township grants for us, and some of Gastonia actually goes into some of the other townships. We go a little bit into the Dallas Township and a little bit into South Point and also a little bit into Crowders, but primarily we're Gastonia Township. It's not for cities, it's for it could be for cities or it could be for nonprofits, it could be for anything. Had a long conversation with Jason Williams. Jason has been real involved with this. And their direction is that they want park and rec improvements, improvements to all of our recreational facilities, something that can be tangible and seen. It is a one-time thing. It is not for operating kind of facilities. Also, farmers market was something that they were interested in, improvements to our farmers market. And also the Smire water system. There is a need to revise the Smire water system. They may be able to help on that. They're also taking a look at helping Dallas on Dallas's end for an emergency connection to the city of Gastonia for the water. So we're looking at all of those sort of things, and yes, sir.
May I ask him a question, Mr. Mayor?
Huh?
May I ask him something?
Yes, sir.
One thing I'd suggest, and Jim and Dave could probably approve of this, is to ask each one of our Gastonia Township representatives on the county commission to give $100,000 to each one of the museums for the money they didn't give before, and this would help the children throughout the county be able to come to the museum without any charge. The county did used to do that. So I think that if they could give $100,000 each, and you could use $100,000 one year and $100,000 the second year, so you'd have 2 years of funding for that. So I'd like to see us ask them if they would consider that, because that help the children throughout the county come to the museum.
Yeah, that's actually $50,000, Porter.
50?
$50,000 to take care of 37,000 children within the Gaston County school systems
If they'd give us 100 each, they'd
for a
give us
class
4
trip.
years.
Yeah.
That'd be great to do that.
Okay, we'll include that. My understanding, they have an application form, so we'll start to make application for these, what we get funded. We may get funded, they may actually fund the schools, they may fund other nonprofits. So we'll see where all of that goes and how they move forward with it. But if you have any other ideas, just let me know, and we'll include an application for it.
One of the ideas I would like to see done is, I know Chuck left, but
Lights.
consider having a splash park like they have at Lineberger over at Irwin Center.
Right.
I think that would be a real benefit for the kids over there.
You read my mind when I was gonna ask it, and Chuck already left. If you look at the pool numbers for Lineberger and then for Irwin, significantly more, way significantly more for Lineberger. But one of the complaints that I hear over and over about the Irwin pool is, it's just a pool. It's more adult oriented. And people with small children, even toddlers, they wanna go to the pool or they wanna take their kids to the pool, but it's not really the atmosphere. So if we had some type of splash park area at the Irwin Center, I think you'd see those numbers go up dramatically. And if the county's willing to fund some parks and recs improvement, I'd love to see the city look at that.
Okay.
I talked to Chuck about it prior, and he said it's about $300,000
Really, for a splash park.
to do a splash park, from what I remember.
But if they're willing to fund it, that's a one-time.
Yeah, and it would help out a lot of
And I
kids.
think it would help the numbers in the community, because there's a lot of small children around there, and you say, well, there's a pool. Yeah, but, if you're
You
not a
should
good
see-
swimmer, you're really not.
They're the
going to-
old-fashioned pools.
Yeah.
The ones
Have you
back-
seen the splash park over here at Lineberger?
Oh,
Have you
yeah.
driven by and seen all the kids there? It's amazing. There's more kids there than in the pool. So it's excellent. So,
I think that probably it should be mentioned, since your idea is excellent, because that was one of the first things I brought about the shield. But I think it should be mentioned that we are on a 50% cycle now for this city, Gastonia Township. One of the commissioners has turned the money back. That's $500,000 of, so, and that leaves Jason, who we of course talked to. And, we don't think of it as two commissioners, which we do have. And if we think of, for that money, we're thinking of one. So, nothing we can do about it, but that's
I'm
what we do.
sorry Mr. Keeger decided to do that.
Well, he did. And of course, that's no secret, because it was all, and he wrote a letter to the paper about it. So that hurts us. And it's not really, of course, who says it's supposed to be fair, but it's not exactly, I think, what they had in mind. And Jason was one of the ones that I think created this idea. So South Point and others, they'll get theirs, Dallas and Crowder's Mountain. But anyway, that's where we are. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Next, while we were meeting here, Michael Peoples did some research and checked the COGS bylaws, and has to be an elected official.
Has to be elected.
So, for that. Next, we're tearing down, we tore down that church, which is rather unusual. We usually don't get into commercial buildings, and where you have a structural problem. The city has part of our ordinance that deals with commercial buildings, and some of it has to do with aesthetics and everything else. The General Assembly a couple years ago made changes, so some parts of our ordinance are no longer applicable. We've written a new draft. Melissa McGee has drafted it. our inspections people have reviewed it, and it's okay from their standpoint. And so we'll be bringing that back to City Council for you to take a look at, and so that our ordinance then fits in line with the state law. And it will be able to do everything that we can do for commercial buildings subject to state law. Still not much in terms of aesthetics. It's still pretty much structured around issues that deal with the building safety issue. Okay. Trying to think. I thought there was one more thing. I think that may be it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll start with and we'll move around, but that's, thank you for that report. City Council report. Robert, we'll start and just go this way, and we'll switch around. But you can start if you've got anything you'd like to say.
I have nothing at this time except to say thank you very much, and I'm glad to be a part of the team.
Thank you very much.
To be part of the team, you know, Ward 1 usually had a whole bunch to say, so you got to work on it.
We'd say that.
I just want to publicly welcome the two new council members and tell them how, excited we are working with them, and looking forward to it at least a couple of years for some of us, and hopefully we can get a lot done. So,
Thank you.
and that's all I have. Mhm.
Okay. Elder?
No report, Mr. Mayor.
My heart.
Someone have an EpiPen?
Did you hear that?
I don't even know what to say.
I don't know. I'm dumbfounded.
No report, but I do want to reiterate what Dr. Curlin said and welcome Councilman Kellogg and Councilman Humphries. Look forward to working with you both.
Yeah, I want to say the same thing to Mr. Kellogg and Mr. Humphries. Look forward to working with you. Congratulations, and that's no report.
Okay, that's a good report. Okay, David?
Just a couple of things. I want to thank, on my behalf and Robert's behalf, the city staff for everything y'all have done for us the last couple of weeks. There's a whole lot that goes on in the background that we never see. I know the citizens never see it. To get one new person, let alone two, on council. We appreciate that. I want to thank the city attorney, the council, for the warm welcome that we've got, and you, Mr. Mayor. The ceremony last night, that was very professionally done. It was very enjoyable. I enjoyed that. And last but not least, the people that put us here. We're here for a reason, and first thing we got to do is listen. I just hope that the citizens will give us a call. Let us know what they need, what they want, what they see, and what's wrong. Can't fix it if we don't know what's wrong. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Well put. You made me flash back in my mind a minute. True story. 15 years ago, the freshman in the legislature in Raleigh, the old guy came in, had been there a while. He said, "I'm going to tell you, here's what you do." I mean, there were a bunch of us. And he said, "Number one, don't open your mouth for a year." And number two, don't ask any questions. And for a whole year, well, naturally, I couldn't do that. But anyway, he did. That was part of the rule. But we don't want that here, by the way. You don't need to practice that. In closing, two super functions that were just 150% successful since our last meeting is, first was the Christmas tree lighting, and some of y'all were there. And
So you sing pretty good, Mr. Mayor.
yeah,
My wife said
I'm
that.
He does sing well.
keeping my day job. But well, that was for Santa Claus. I can do that. But that was a wonderful turnout. But I was just, my eyes jumped out Sunday at the Toys for Tots that they had, and I was told there was over 600. I didn't count them, but there was over 600 motorcycles at the beginning at Irvin Center from several states, and every motorcycle had a toy tied to it. This had to be a new one, it hadn't been opened yet. And there were a lot of teddy bears on those big motorcycles, so I thought it was funny. And by the time we got, some of them joined as they went their 23 miles through Gastonia and around, and ended up at down below the Firestone store and the old Sears at East Ridge Mall. and it started raining, but there were probably at that time I would estimate, based on what they said about Irving, close to 1,000 motorcycles. And people lined, and they were eating, and of course they were lined forever. They like this fellow here, they had to go get in line to eat. But that was a wonderful thing, and it was for, of course, half of the Salvation Army, and I think the Boys and Girls Club, but they were just packing the buses full of those toys for children that won't be getting them otherwise. So that was a wonderful thing. Police did a marvelous job, Chief. I'm sure some of the motorists weren't too happy about having to sit there because they were really backed up, but they did. I don't know where all they went. As you know, he came several weeks, Gerald Tate did. But that was very successful, and I was very proud of that. And very proud of both of these. Pat Johnson did a marvelous job on the Christmas tree lighting, and it was cold, but it was fun. So anything else for the good of the cause? Okay, I guess we come back on, what is it, about the 15th? All right. Well, there's a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There's a second.
Second.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
7:47.